There's a significant agenda throughout these 2 days, and there's a lot of people here that have got an interest in adherence and compliance. And let's talk a bit about that. I'm just going to take just as a starting point, I actually think those words are not helpful. Both adherence and compliance, to me, are words that sound like they've got a punishment at the end of it. And I went to a really interesting talk by a guy who was a professor of pharmacy who proffered that actually the majority are non-adhering patients, not the minority. It's the majority of people that are non-adhering in some way or another. And what he talked about, which really struck a chord with me, was actually about our emotional attachment or detachment from our medicines. I take a medicine every day for a mild condition, and actually it does me some good, but I still hate those tablets. Now there's something in that I think we need to think differently and radically differently about how we engage patients and patient groups with thinking about their medication and their relationship with it, because I think a lot of it is the root of our own kind of psychology about what this stuff's doing. The half a tablet. You know, your mother's a great example, and I bet there's millions out there, you know, who only want to take it when it hurts, and then they're only going to take a half. And actually, that's not doing nothing for them. It's doing nothing for you in terms of assessing the value of and the effect of those drugs, and it's skewing the figures. So.
I think one of the issues clearly when you design clinical trials, and clinical trials are not the real world, that's the problem, because people always behave as they're told during a clinical trial typically, and therefore the data collected is perfect world, and yet we live in a real world, so we need data for the real world, firstly. I think secondly, if you look at some of the diseases which the problem of the disease manifests itself extremely quickly if you don't adhere, so diabetes would be one, then you get better compliance. With areas like heart disease, when it's not obvious straight away, you get bad compliance. So I think interesting is some of the diseases in the mental health area, you get very good compliance, because the issue of the disease manifests itself again quite quickly. In other areas badly. Heart disease is a typical one because it's also a very expensive area. Cancer medication, you get very good compliance, particularly with the side effects of the chemotherapy and things. So it is different in disease areas. I hate the word compliance, I hate the word adherence, because they're just not patient-friendly words. People don't know what they mean. I don't know how we address it, that's the other thing, Simon. I mean, what is patient-friendly language, and what can we as an industry do?
I think a lot of it is about understanding what effects drugs have on people's lifestyles. You know, I think most of the development of drugs has been around how can I cure this illness? How can I alleviate this pain? Actually, you need to look much more broadly at that actually what lives are people living. I've got a member of my staff who's actually speaking tomorrow who's got a life-limiting condition now. Now she will blow you away with what she says about her own adherence, and I'm not going to tell you what she says, but it's all to do with the importance of lifestyle. I met somebody who said that they were taking a medication which changed the colour of their lips. She said, actually, the most important thing for me in managing my illness is that I do not, and she was a high-powered executive, I do not want to go to a meeting where my lipstick looks a different colour at the end from the beginning. You know, this is, and actually, so it meant that actually she sometimes didn't take her medication when she was going to really important meetings. You know, you have to understand the impact of what those drugs have on people's lives. And I think that's some of the dialogue that you can do very early on. I mean, you talked about the HIV, AIDS drug development group. I think the stuff there was really quite exciting about how people looked at, you know, what was going to happen to people's lifestyles there. And actually, it's strange that we haven't learned enough from that to take it forward.